Eating alone in a restaurant does not bother me whatsoever. That was amazing. So I just rolled past this church, and on the sign it said Reformed Baptist. I have no clue what Reformed Baptist is. So I've been to a Baptist church, Assemblies of God, Pentecostal, non-denominational. Like, I've been to a bunch of different churches, but I've never been to a Reformed Baptist church. So I have no idea what that means. But it got me to thinking, like, there's Catholic, Lutheran, Assemblies of God, there's Baptist, Southern Baptist, apparently Reformed Baptist, there's Pentecostal, there's like Seventh-day Adventist, there's a zillion different denominations. I don't know if Seventh-day Adventist is, anyway. So here's what I think is kind of funny, and here's what I was thinking about this morning. If you're not a Christian, you're so not going to understand how funny this is. We're not all right. Somebody's going to be wrong. Like, somebody is not going to be right. Like, we all have small variations in what we believe, and that's basically, to my knowledge, why everybody split off into all kind of different denominations. And it's like, we believe this, so we're this denomination. We believe this, so we're this denomination. I wonder who is the one who's going to be the most correct as far as their biblical beliefs. Because, and not because I feel like arguing with anybody in the least, but it just makes me laugh because we feel like the denomination that I'm in, I feel like 100% we're right. You know, we're right. But every denomination, we're not all going to be right. What if I'm the one who's wrong? What if you're the one who's wrong? You're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. I just thought that was funny this morning. We're not all going to be right. One of us is going to be wrong. Okay, time for story time. In this book right here, you have a story about 3 Hebrew children. You got Shad, you got Mish, and you got Abed. Okay, you following along so far? So you got these 3 dudes who decided that they were going to take a stand. And they decided that they were not going to be like everybody else. And they were pretty happy about it. You see the smiley face? They were happy about it. This has got to be the worst eraser ever. So then they decided that they were going to be different, so they lived happily ever after, right? Absolutely not. So they're just minding their own business, being super, super awesome dudes. And then here comes this one cat. And if you have no idea, he was the king and he was pretty happy about it. And he said, I don't really dig the way that you guys are living. You're going to have to change that, or I'm going to throw you into this little pit. In this pit, there's lobsters. No, I'm just kidding. It's not lobsters. Fire. So just a recap. These guys doing everything they're supposed to be doing. This guy, not pretty okay with it, says, if you don't change what you're doing, if you don't start doing something different, I'm going to throw you in here. There was 50 bajillion other folks who were not doing the things that Shad and Mish, Abed, they were willing to bow down. They were willing to surrender to this dude right here, and they were willing to do it his way. These guys, not willing to do it. This guy, not happy about it. These guys, willing to do it. Bajillion. The guy decided, not really worth the trouble, so I'm going to let these 3 guys just do whatever they want to do. He got super big frown face, and he said, this is what I'm going to do. You 3 dudes, y'all got one more chance to do what I'm telling you to do. What you got to do is you got to bow down to me, not bow down to the God that you've been bowing down to. And they was like, not going to happen. And if you don't listen this time, fire into the fire.
They put you in jail right away.
So he said, okay, you ready? 5, 4, 3. Dude ain't getting it. We ain't doing it. 2. Nope. 1. Ready, go. Do what I told you to do. So then you got old King Man who looks at him and they like, they ain't gonna do it. So then we use red because he's mad. This is what he says. Fire. Okay, pause. This is the whole place I wanted to get to. How dirty this is driving me banana sandwich. Take a stand. Okay, Shad, Mish, Abed. All three of them, take a stand. Here's the deal. You would think that after they were threatened to be thrown into a fiery pit, that they would have bowed down. They said, you know what? I'll do it your way. I'm not going to do it my way. I'll do it your way. Okay, I surrender. It is what it is. But they took a stand. They said, no matter what, we're going to keep living the way that we're living. We're going to keep serving our God, even under threat of fire. They said, no. Here's the most interesting part of the story. Normally, us in our Christian brains, we think, okay, since we did this thing, we took a stand, even though they were threatened to throw us in the fire, I took a stand. Okay, God, come on, like intervene. I did the right thing. Ready? Take a stand. I'm not going to do that. I got principles. I got morals. I got it. Okay, God, intervene. And that is not what happened at all. So now we got King Crazy Face and he says, turn up the heat. Here I was thinking this was the part of the story where God was going to come down and God was going to intervene because they took a stand. They did the right thing. They didn't bow down when they were supposed to bow down. God, now it's time to intervene, right? Absolutely not. What happens after the three guys, they stood up for what was right. They did the right thing. Did God come through? Did God intervene? Was God there? No, they turned up the heat. More pressure. Okay, I know that was probably one of the craziest illustrations I've ever tried to do on this channel, but I think there's a really strong point there. Every time I try to make advancements, every time instead of going backwards or instead of being lazy, I really start pressing into the kingdom of God. There is some subconscious thing that just thinks that life is going to get so much better, that life is about to get like easy street. And I don't just mean like circumstances, I just mean like relationship with God, like hearing him and just like, you know, the temptation to just not pursue him is all going to go away and everything's just going to be great. And it's not. Actually, it's the exact opposite. Every time that I try to press in, every time that I really make some pushes and try to advance relationship with God and my life and my spiritual life at home with my family, it's like instead of God coming and saying, here you go, rainbows and roses, like everything's great. It's like overnight miraculous awesomeness. It's like, no, the fire gets turned up. And here we are as Christians under the threat of not literal fire. Nobody, hopefully, is about to throw us in a fiery pit, but we're under like symbolic fire from the world and everybody's taking shots at Christians and we take a stand and we say, you know what? We're still going to live our life this way. We're not going to listen to what you say. We're going to take a stand and we're going to live for what is right and we're going to pursue God and we're going to pray and we're going to love people and we're not going to be like the rest of the world. We think, okay, here comes God and the miraculous is going to happen and there's going to be an intervention and things are just going to get a whole lot easier. And I think that sometimes we forget that the moment that we do that, the fire gets turned up. I want it turned up. It gets turned up. How often do we talk about cliches on this channel? Here's another cliche. If you find yourself never running into the devil, maybe it's because you're running the same direction. Well, if you find it fairly easy to just coast through life, maybe that's because you don't have the attention of the enemy. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be afraid for hell to know my name. I don't want to be afraid to have the attention of the enemy. And something that I have so been laxed in and something that I have so been forgetting over the past couple of weeks when I've been pressing in and getting pummeled and pressing in and getting pummeled is to have the mindset, and this is really the whole point of this video right here, is to be prepared for the fire to be turned up. I think in some cases, especially in my life, it's getting easier and easier to take the initial stand, to say no, and to put your foot down and to say,
I'm going to read my word instead of watching TV. I'm going to pray for just a little bit longer. I'm going to love a little bit more. I'm going to reach out to people a little bit harder. And it's getting a little bit easier to take a stand. But the thing that has been like absolutely blindsiding me is me forgetting the fact that when I do that, hell is going to fight back just as hard. Because we're not just taking a stand for ourselves so the devil doesn't just like pummel us. We're actually advancing the kingdom. We're actually taking ground. And that means that he's losing ground that he does not want to lose. So here is my advice today. Be sober, be vigilant. Not just whenever you're ready to take a stand, not just when you start advancing, but when you wake up the next morning or throughout the day, be sober, be vigilant. Be very aware after you start pressing in, when you start praying a little bit more, when you start reading a little bit more word, when you talk to your wife and you say, hey, I think I'm ready to start praying over the kids just a little bit longer. When you take a stand, when you start making advancements, literally be mentally aware for the rest of the day, for the next morning. Be sober, be vigilant, because the enemy is coming to turn the heat up. Okay, that's all I got for you guys today. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. But first, let me take a selfie. Beep, 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 beep.